and welcome back to Destiny Global Success Tips. My name is Carmen. I am a master trainer here with Destiny Global, and welcome. We do these success tips every couple of weeks. We come at you live with a different tip to help you in your personal and professional life. And so I'm really excited to be here with you. If you hear anything that you like, give me a comment down below, give me an emoji, give me a thumbs up, give me a heart, give me a fire, flip me off if you want. I mean, no, don't really do that. And if you hear anything that you feel like somebody else would help them, we want to invite you to share this. The number one reason why we do these success tips at Destiny Global, we are after your transformation, and we love, our most favorite thing is to see lives transformed. People like Hannah, one of our clients, who, a mother, wife, she came to the event wanting to learn how to get a raise on her job, and looked around at different entrepreneurs and said, yeah, that's great for them, but that could never be me. She actually started her very first business, opened it up on a part-time basis. Within just a month, she was on a wait list, eventually quit her job, now running a full-time business. In a coaching appointment just yesterday, she was trying to figure out how do I scale this thing? How can I fire clients? How can I get more clients? How can I hire employees? And so people like Stuart Lynn, who when he got started, he was an engineer and eventually went off to start his own engineering company. Today has multiple 7-figure companies, and it's just crazy. We could talk about stories for days and days and days, but these are the kinds of stories that happen through using the information that the trainings that Destiny Global has. So tonight we're going to talk about your vision, and we're going to talk about how to reignite the fire from your old vision. Because so often when we're young, we set a vision, we set goals, and depending on how we grew up, typically determines what kind of visions and goals we set, what our belief is on what we can do, who we're hanging around. A lot of you might have heard the phrase, if you show me your 5 closest people, I'll show you your future. And a lot of that comes from the place that, or the reason of, because we dream based on other people's dreams. What we believe is possible is highly based on what we've seen or what we're seeing other people do. It's the same reason why when we see people achieving things, when we see people doing things that we didn't think was possible, all of a sudden our belief raises. So for me, I grew up in a double wide trailer in Michigan, not seeing a lot of success. And my biggest goals when I was younger was to live in a house that wasn't a double wide trailer, to not be on food stamps, to have a healthy marriage, and to be able to eat at Red Lobster because that was like a really nice restaurant in Olive Garden. Like those were like right? And so I started getting out of my little town a little bit, and I was like, wait, there's like nicer restaurants than Olive Garden? No way. Like there's nicer restaurants where anyway, my mind was totally blown. And so as I started to get out of my little small town in Michigan, my vision started to grow. And I can remember the boy I was dating in high school, his biggest vision at that time when we were dating was to live in his mom's farmhouse. And I can remember when I heard about his vision, I was like, wait, what? That's it? Like, that's your biggest vision? Because even then I knew that, gosh, that's all you want and your only goal in life. It wasn't to have a great marriage. It wasn't to make a lot of money. It had nothing to do with kids at that time. Like, it had nothing to do with making an impact in the world and helping people change their lives. It was like, that was the biggest he had dreamt at that moment in time. And so that's where we start. No matter where you started, we all had something that we wanted to accomplish when we were younger. And so one of the things nobody told me when I was younger, nobody sat me down and told me this, is, Carmen, sometimes your vision needs an update. Sometimes it needs an upgrade. Sometimes we need to go back and ask ourselves some questions about that vision. But what most people do is we set the goals, we set the visions, we have that fire inside of us where we're like, yeah, let's go. Life knocks us down. Life knocks us out. We go out with all this like, let's go. And then stuff doesn't work out. Have you ever had that happen? You got excited and then it didn't work out, right? And so all of a sudden, if we don't pivot, if we don't update, if we don't continue to cultivate that vision, then what happens is we just lose the fire. We allow the fire to burn out. If you think about a fire, the only way a fire keeps growing is if we continue to add logs to the fire. If we don't add logs to the fire, then it's only a matter of time before that fire burns out. And so no one ever said, just because your vision isn't exciting you anymore doesn't mean it wasn't good. It doesn't mean it wasn't God. And it doesn't mean that you weren't meant to do it. And so a couple questions that I want to give you, if you have ever had a goal or a vision, and you've ever felt the feeling of having that fire inside of you, that hunger, where you couldn't wait to get up, you couldn't wait to attack the vision, you couldn't wait to go after it, you daydreamed about the places you would vacation, you daydreamed about releasing your book, you daydreamed about getting your own corner office, you daydreamed about whatever that goal or vision was. If you're no longer in that place, I believe we're meant to stay in that place. I believe that we're meant to be dreaming and going after something our whole lives. Because a man or woman without a vision, oh my gosh, like, you gotta have a vision. You gotta have a vision. We're meant to have a vision. But our vision changes. So a couple questions I wanna give you to make sure you're asking yourself to refresh, to renew, to create that fire inside of you again, and to update the old vision. So, all right. By the way, just a couple of statistics. 98% of people never achieve their goals. 92% of people. 92% of people never achieve their goals. 8% of people who achieve their goals most plateau or backslide within 6 to 12 months. And it's not because they're lazy. It's because their vision expired. And so when we don't have an active vision we're running towards, if it's not updated, then the fire naturally dies out. And this is why most people hit it, and then that was like the peak. Have you ever hit like a weight loss goal and you were driving really hard to get to a certain weight? You like hit it, and then the next day you popped up, and then you popped up, and you popped up, and you only were at that low weight for like 1 or 2 days? It's because there wasn't a goal after what happens when I hit the vision. What happens when I hit the goal? What happens when I get to the top of the mountain? Okay. So, couple questions you can ask yourself. Number 1, what part of this vision still excites you? What part of the vision still excites you? So look at the vision, look at the goal, write it out, go back, pause this video or rewatch it later and pause it and answer that question. What is the vision? What is the goal? If failure wasn't an option, what would you be doing with your life? What would your life look like? What would your marriage look like? What would your finances look like? What would your work look like? Where would you be vacationing? What would all that look like? What no longer fits the version of you today? So my vision that I set when I was 18 or 20 or even 30, I'm a different person. I'm a wife. I'm a mom of 3. Our kids do jujitsu competitively. So when I set those goals and dreams, I was in a completely different place than I am now. So what part of those goals and visions still fit? Okay. Third question. So what no longer fits is number 2. What no longer fits is number 2. And then what is the next level you being called to create, impact, or experience now? So for some of you, the goal is going to be completely different. For some of you, the goal is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be some similar, but a little bit different. And so, but what happens is when you update your vision and now you have clarity about what you want. Now you can start getting excited. And clarity, action comes from clarity. One of the biggest things that kills action is being unclear, confusion, not knowing what to do and where to go. And I feel like so often when we don't update our vision and we lose that fire, we're not clear, we don't have clarity, then we just do nothing. We settle into a life by default instead of by design, and then we begin just going through the motions. We wake up, we go to work, we make our coffee, we come home, we have conversations, we watch our favorite TV show, we watch the football game, we watch the baseball game, we watch the draft, we do all these things, but there's no excitement there. And a life without excitement, I believe is no life at all. I believe it's no life at all. And so one of the things that is going to be coming up on Life Map, for those of you that are a member of Life Map, we're going to be talking about when you hit your vision, what's next? Because for some of you, it's not a matter of your vision expired. For some of you, are living a life currently that you couldn't even have imagined. You've hit the vision. You've paid off your debt. You've written the book. You're making more money than you ever thought you could. Your marriage is better than it could be. I've been there. In my early 20s, I started a business that wound up making $720,000, then $1.8 million, then $3.7, then $9 million. Having a ton of money in the bank, being debt-free, getting married. And like, I grew up broke. I grew up in a double-wide trailer on food stamps. And so when you come from that place, it's like, my gosh, I'm only 25 years old. Like, now what? I have accomplished like way more than my wildest dreams ever thought I could. And so for those of you that have accomplished your goals and dreams, it really can be a dangerous place. Because if you're not continuing to say, what's next? What's next? What's next? This is why most people peak somewhere in their 30s. Because we're hungry when we turn 18. We have tenacity, we have grit, we have all those things, the fire inside of us, right? And then we reach some level of success. Or we get too many failures and we wind up just settling and quitting. And so no matter what position you're in, whether you're in the position of you've already achieved more than you ever thought you could, or maybe you had goals and you had dreams and you've chalked it up to being young and dumb and naive and whatever, you weren't meant to live a life of mediocrity. You weren't meant to live a life by default. You were meant to live an exciting life, a life that excites you. You know, most people are looking for a way to escape their life. This is why so many adults watch so much TV, because TV is an escape. It's an escape. It allows us to think about other things. But what if you created a life that other people wanted to escape to? What if you created a life that excited you? What if you created a life that your 18-year-old self would look back and be like, hey, well done. Well done. What if you were the one in your family that was supposed to go first? You know, everybody needs an inspiration. Everybody needs somebody. Oftentimes, other people need to see somebody else go first and do the impossible before they believe. What if you were meant to be the first millionaire inside of your family? What if you were meant to be the first person to pay off all of their debt, including their mortgage, and be 100% debt-free? What if you were the one that was supposed to be traveling around the world, tasting all the foods, dipping your toes in the different bodies of water, experiencing the different cultures? But you're only ever going to do that if you dream it first. Because if you can dream it, you can do it. At First Steps to Success, coming up in less than 2 weeks in Indianapolis, Indiana, we're going to be in that room with an entire group of people who are done living by default. They are ready to live by design. They are ready to make this last half of 2025 the best 6 months of the entire year. And so I don't know if we have any tickets left, but what I can tell you is if you already have your ticket, go down below in the comments and let me know. And if you don't have your ticket, and if there are none left, you can get on the wait list for if any cancellations come in. We will notify you first. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know what was your biggest takeaway of the night. I would love to know what was your biggest takeaway. What was the one thing that resonated with you the most? Let me know in the comments, and we will be back in a couple weeks with another success tip. Thanks for watching.